Hello everyone, Ian here with Sanctum of the Craft, and I'm here to record a video for our Ask a Witch series. As a reminder, these are the videos where we directly answer questions that have been sent in, and it is, by definition, my personal answer, or the personal answer of whoever is filming that video. These are not to the same standard of documented, researched, fact-checked content that we try to put out, because these are personal answers given to genuine questions. If any of you have questions that you would like answered, you can put them in the comments below. You can email them to us at staff@sanctumofthecraft.org. You can send them to us in our Discord server. Having said that, this is my answer to this question. There is going to be another answer to this question later because Akima is also intending to film one, as we have radically different answers to how we deal with this issue. So, without further ado, this is a bit of a long one, but I think it is worth reading the entirety of. I have consistently struggled to establish a sustainable prayer or meditation time throughout the day, week, month, and years, despite knowing that there is a huge body of literature about its benefits. I struggle because every time, or at least it seems like every time, I actually sit down and do it afterwards, I certainly do feel calmer, but for me this means I become way more aloof, detached, withdrawn, I laugh less, more serious, and I am practically mute for a lot of the time, which often hurts myself as well as my loved ones who notice a decrease in my engagement or vivaciousness, I suppose. I don't know what to do. There are so many ways to approach this that I get into analysis paralysis and the fact that I want to be calm, but I also want to find a way so that I do not become so solemn. It is important to me to establish some kind of schedule and way to pray or meditate so that I can continue to grow my jovial nature rather than my default solemn one. This is an interesting question because it's predicated on an underlying assumption that is absolutely reasonable and sane in the society that we currently live in. So, moments of calm and stillness and reflection are incredibly difficult to come by in the overstimulated, go, 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 nose to grindstone, hamster on the wheel, keep it moving lifestyle that we are essentially forced into under late-stage capitalism. Isn't it great? That means that when you take time to just exist calmly, of course it appears to lower your energy level. It's reconnecting you with stillness. And that's something that we just don't have enough of in our lives. So, my first thought is that it may be useful to find times to be still and to avoid overstimulation outside of your dedicated prayer time, meditation time, etc. And I know that can be hard to find, but it has been my personal experience that having a balance in the rest of your life anyway means that as soon as that you don't tend to skew as hard. As soon as you go, oh God, I have a little bit of this calm in my life, I'm going to dive into it. This is the moderation in all things, including stillness and including stimulation. As far as meditation or prayer towards connecting with one's jovial nature, the first thing that I think of is the Laughing Buddha. Attempts to communicate with the divine or to understand reality or to attempt to comprehend the universe in its incomprehensibility, or to sit and contemplate the Tao, if you prefer. these aren't inherently solemn acts. The universe is ridiculous. The universe is absurd. Day-to-day life is full of things that, if we stop viewing them as potentially matters of life or death, which, to be fair, a lot of our daily stress is because a lot of things seem like and are matters of life and death for you or someone else or both. There is an underlying absurdity and appreciation of the absurd for what it is can actually build some of that jovial nature. I'm reminded of a time when I was much younger, when I was dealing with things that seemed very serious at the time. Social ostracization, feeling like I was destined to be alone forever, all of the usual teenage stuff. One of my coping methods was inspired by Monty Python, and it was to point out, usually internally, in the style of Monty Python, what exactly was absurd about what the people who were being ostracizing were doing. Because when I stepped back from it, it made absolutely no sense, and it was hilarious, objectively speaking. The trick was that it was objectively hilarious, but subjectively quite hurtful. So I actually find that taking the big picture step in stillness, where I'm not as personally invested, gives me that clarity and that opportunity to laugh at things. Now, there's a different kind of not caring, rather than solemnity, apathy. And I think that the way of dealing with that is actually somewhat harder, because as one tries to contemplate the universe or contact the divine, or not only be the stone in the river, but be the stone and the river and the banks of the river and the world around it, it can be easy to lose track of what matters. It can be easy to stop eating, to stop seeking out company, to do nothing but isolate oneself in that contemplation and that existence as the universe. And my answer to this is paradoxical, because the universe is immense, and the divinity within it is immense. If you think of the nothingness that desired to be known and therefore by created of itself all that is, and you try to understand it and exist on its scale, then obviously the little things like this body needing food become irrelevant, because this body needing food is of even less significance than a single cell having insufficient ATP to fuel itself. And you certainly are not keeping track of your body on a cellular level. Right? Here's the thing. The universe created everything within it because it desired to know itself. And that knowing and that experience is what shapes the universe in turn. You know, ceremonial magicians love to cite as above, so below, but the fact of the matter is, as below, so above is also true. The great pattern of reality is reflected in daily life, and daily life gives shape to the patterns that shape the great pattern of reality. So, one individual's life, one individual eating, one individual's happiness absolutely matters, because every individual is the universe, including the individual who is praying and meditating and contemplating. And you can almost view it as an obligation to provide experiences to the universe that you are, because that is why it exists in this differentiated and detached state, is to have experiences and to understand itself through them. And so, by stopping having those experiences, you're kind of defeating the purpose. Additionally, the idea that because the universe is vast, the individual does not matter is debatable, and I have given my perspective on it. But from inside an angry human perspective, what I will say is that if the universe is too vast to care about what happens to individual people, then we as individual people must care about what happens to individuals. Because that is how we generate the meaning in our interactions with each other and with the universe. We care about ourselves and about each other. And that means that the universe cares about us, because we are the universe. We're just a piece of it that's small enough scale to care about the small scale pieces, but that doesn't mean that we aren't the whole thing as well. I'm not entirely certain how coherent that was, so I'm probably going to have to watch this back and see how it went. But that is my somewhat philosophical, somewhat ranty, somewhat practical advice for dealing with this particular issue. Becoming solemn, becoming apathetic, becoming detached when contemplating the universe and contemplating divinity and attempting to connect with it. My advice is to bring that back down to the scale on which you live, and care about the scale on which you live, and enjoy the scale on which you live, and take joy in it, and show compassion to it, and bring those things back up to the larger scale with you. I hope that this is helpful to someone. Thank you all for watching. Let us know if you have any questions or if you have encountered this issue in the comments below. And stay safe out there, everyone. I'll see you next time.